Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Skeletal Remains, Fragments of the Ageless, out March 8th on Century Media Records. The album has 9 tracks, 43 minutes in length, and this is the band's 5th full-length studio album. They are an American death metal band. Now, when I sat down to listen to this record, the first impression that I had is that this album is extremely brutal, very heavy, very dense as far as the sound is concerned, and it's very unforgiving. It doesn't almost give you a sense of break or a sense of pause for you to even gather your thoughts and see where you are in the overall experience. It's like once one track is finished and you feel like there's going to be a moment of reflection, they hit you right again with a song that feels even heavier than the previous track. That was my first experience, and that was the first thing I walked away from this album feeling in terms of what the overall vibe of the record was all about. The more I listened to the record, the more I saw that the reason why this album had the right playability that allowed me to finish the album and go back again to the beginning and enjoy the record again is that it does have some pockets that allow the record to breathe and allow the listener to also take a breath and pause and really understand where you are within the overall journey of the album, but also understand better what this record has to offer at every single turn. A perfect example of that is Ceremony of Impiety. This song is an interlude that really breaks the record into two and sets up the second half of the album. It plays an important role because when you have an album with this kind of sound, with this kind of heaviness, having that break in the middle really helps the listener. It allows you to feel like you had a chance to pause, break, take a breath, and then prepare yourself for what comes next. It gives you a huge pause, it gives you a huge reprieve that gives incredible playability to what the second half of the album is going to be all about. So having songs like that on this record, having that interlude and having moments within songs that offer similar experiences definitely add to how this album comes across and to how much more you can get out of it than just talk about the brutality that it has, but then forcing you to pause the experience because it's just too much to digest. Great design from that standpoint. As far as the overall sound is concerned, this album offers a lot of old school elements, but it also offers a lot of more modern death metal elements. Finding a happy medium between the two, it's really important in order for the album to resonate not just with a new audience, but with an old audience. It has great production behind it because for as brutal and as heavy as it is, it's very easy to lose track of where the elements are, and everything just becomes this huge wall of sound, but you can't tell how many bricks are on that wall because it's just too much coming at you and it's not really well defined. It's not the case here. For as heavy as it is, the definition in the production really allows you to see the drums, the guitars, what the guitars are doing, the bass. You're able to see all the moving pieces of this record and really understand what they're trying to give you, what image they're trying to create, and what sound experiences are they offering you. And I think this is important on any record, but specifically on an album that is this brutal. So it becomes more than just brutality. It's not being heavy for heavy's sake. It's a record that offers more beyond that and allows the listener to dive as deep as you want to dive in order to get those elements and understand them a lot better. And one of the best elements that this record has is the guitar sound. I just love the guitars on this record. I couldn't have asked for a better guitar sounding record all around. The solos, phenomenal solos. They bring in old school death metal solo style elements. They bring some more modern death metal solo style elements. They bring some classic heavy metal style elements. Very diverse in terms of the sound, in terms of the execution, what they provide, where they are inserted within the songs. Always fresh. If there's something that you can see from the guitar solos throughout the record, is that they don't follow prototypes and they don't follow formulas. They feel very organic where they are and what they give and how they sound. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it because it was like opening a Kinder Surprise egg with every single song. You just don't know what kind of toy you're going to get on the inside. And in this case, every time you crack a song, you don't know what kind of solo you're going to get. And that to me added incredible value, not just to the tracks, but to the record itself. Outside of that, I love the fact that the guitars on this record have two distinct lanes. One lane that really pairs up well with the drum and bass sound in order to create this brutal heaviness that the album has at its core, and then another lane where the guitars detach themselves a little bit more from that sound, creating more of a driven experience, melodic at times, a little bit darkened at other times. And this also creates movement within the songs and within the record. It allows you to feel like the album has forward motion. And when you have an album this heavy, you definitely have to create some motion. Otherwise, it feels like you're not going anywhere. And that's when tracks start to blend into one another and it becomes really hard to tell them apart. This album, having that sense of motion, pairing up with the fact that the guitars are also adding heaviness to the bigger picture, really creates a nice dynamic that gives great quality to the overall soundscape and gives obviously great quality to the individual tracks. The drums on this record are powerful and impactful, and I like the fact that in some songs they're over the top, like you can really feel them pounding, and in some songs they're a little bit more in the bottom end of the overall soundscape. The guitars pushing themselves a little bit more into the forefront as far as the production and mixing is concerned, and they move the drums a little bit further back in order for the foundation of the track to be heavy but to propel the guitars forwards. And then certain tracks you see the drums coming all the way into the forefront and having as much of an impact on what drives the song as the guitars do. So it's a very interesting balance, and it's a very interesting dynamic that obviously also offers movement within the songs and from song to song. Vocally, the album is a lot more balanced. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have some subtle changes from a track here to a track there. I like some of the layers that they added in some spots on this record, some of the reverb that they use in some spots on this record. It's nice small changes that have a very subtle impact on how you perceive the vocals, but it's important at the same time so you don't have a linear approach from start to finish, but still a very balanced record vocally, and what you get in the beginning is very consistent to what you're going to get all the way throughout. A very consistent record all around. I like this album. For the fans of death metal, I don't think you're gonna feel cheated by the latest offering of Skeletal Remains. It's a brutal, like I said, unforgiving album at times, but with the right pockets, with the right ebbs and flows to make the experience a little bit easier to digest. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Cybernetic Harvest. This is the second track on the album, and the vocals bring a hint of darkness to this song, allowing for the overall heaviness and brutality to breathe a little bit better. The drums are insane on this track. The guitars add a level of brutality that really helps the drums have a more condensed sound experience, and this makes the song have great ebbs and flows as you progress. That darkness that you see in the vocals, it's something that really lingers around, and you see some of that darkness also coming through to some of its sound elements. Amazing solo section, but it's a very dense and meaty song all around. Next you have Forever and Sufferance. The guitar sound on this song jumps off the track. It has a very it has a nice way of separating itself from everything else, but it doesn't stay separated because it finds ways of weaving, either be through guitar solos or through just some more melodic dark riffs. The guitar sound on this track is the track. Everything feeds off of it. It's like the roots of a tree. They just branch out underneath the soil and just go everywhere, anywhere they can go. This track feels a little bit like that because you have this ability to do a lot with the guitar sound, to have dualities within the guitar sound, to have dualities within the solo sections that this track offer, where they come in within the song, what they're giving to the song. It's just a track that guitar-wise is very rich. It's very dynamic, perhaps one of the most rich and dynamic songs from that standpoint. I also enjoyed the vocal performance. There are some pockets within this song sound-wise and vocally that you can take a break, you can headbang, and you can feel like you can catch your breath before the onslaught continues. Those are important because the song doesn't lose its heaviness, it doesn't lose its momentum, it just slows it down ever so slightly. You feel a different type of heaviness, but it's enough for you as a listener to not be completely overtaken by everything that this track has in store for you. The solos, once again, amazing throughout this song. Last but not least, Verminous Embodiment. This is a wall of sound style track. I mean, vocals included. Even though the vocals are not buried in the mix, the vocals throughout the record always come up front, In this song, the overall sound is so pungent. It has so much strength, has so much heaviness that it feels like it's just dragging the vocals along for the ride. It's a track that has a great tempo, great guitar sound as well, and the vocals at times have moments of volume. And the moments of volume is with layers on those vocals that are very subtle, but allows the vocals to feel a little bit bigger, to add to that overall volume, to that big wall of sound that always feels like it's coming towards you. This is the style of track that you have here, a track that still lives off of great guitar sound, great solos, great texture. It's a really well-crafted song that, for the brutality that it has, it still hits you, and you're still able to really appreciate everything that it offers. This is it. Skeletal remains Fragments of the Ageless, out March 8th. Once again, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all at the next video.